everybody. I am Rachel, and I am here with my favorite chickie and sister-in-law, Alana.
Hello.
What are we talking about today?
Travel.
All things travel.
All things
Because we have
travel.
actually traveled together.
We just
quite a
counted the
lot.
other day.
Yeah, let's recap. Where all have we gone
Together
since
in the
I've
last
known you?
5 years that
In
I've
the
known
last
you.
5 years.
Which is a long time, but not that long.
Yeah, I would agree. So
Okay.
we've gone
Omaha, Minnesota,
obviously Minnesota,
obviously North Dakota.
We've
gone to Florida
several times,
California, Italy,
I think that might
cities
be it.
in Rome, or cities
Well,
in
Italy.
yeah.
I think that's all that we've traveled together. Correct?
Perhaps.
Yeah. Minus you, I traveled with everybody to Las Vegas.
Yep.
But that was minus you. And all of those places, we traveled with Austin.
Yes.
Too. There's not a single place on there that we didn't also bring Austin.
Austin's like a little pocket pal. She comes with
She's
everywhere.
Like a little pocket.
Yeah.
You just stick her in your pocket and she tags right along.
Actually, one of my friends said to me the other day that her and her husband were kind of teetering on the fence of they were not like stressed or nervous, but just like didn't know if they wanted to have kids just because they loved their lifestyle so much.
Yeah.
They didn't want it to alter, and after hanging out with Austin a couple of times, like they were like, okay, we're ready.
Mm-hmm.
Like her husband was like, Austin is the reason I think I want to have kids. Like,
oh my gosh.
Yeah, he was like, she's so like chill. Like
she really is.
And she comes with us everywhere. So he was like, it made me feel better knowing that like you can really like make your kids like form into your life instead of like changing yourself
your
to
whole
form
life
into your kid's life.
Yes. And I'm sure if you travel a lot when they're very little,
which we did,
she
was like 2
becomes
weeks old.
so much easier to travel when they're older.
Yeah.
I think if you put off traveling, and this is coming from someone who has 0 kids.
Yeah.
If you put off traveling for so long, it sounds like such a daunting task.
Yeah.
To bring your child on an airplane because you have no idea how they'll react.
But you're seasoned now. You've traveled with Austin.
Yes, but she's not my child. So
yeah.
Like I'm just auntie. Like I get to have fun. Like I'm fun.
That's true, but you've been there through the good, the bad, and the ugly.
That is true. That is very true.
And all things travel.
All things travel. Yeah, because when we were sitting at the airport in
JFK?
Nope, in Venice.
Okay.
Right? No. Where did we stop? In Venice.
Yeah.
When we switched planes and in Amsterdam.
In
Amsterdam. On the plane in Amsterdam, she sat on my lap and we watched a movie for 2 hours. And then we got told we were getting off the plane and poor girl thought we were home.
Oh my God. No, it was over 2 hours.
It was 4 hours, but she sat on my lap, like didn't move from my lap for 2 hours.
We were on the tarmac for 4 hours.
The maximum amount of time that they can keep you on the plane.
Yes. Our flight was only supposed to be like 7. So we were already past halfway.
Yeah.
So then he dings the captain and he's like, we're getting off. Like,
yeah,
we're getting off.
I think we all should have known because even Daniel said they can only keep us on here for 4 hours.
At like the 2-hour mark, he said, you guys are not being held here. If you want to get off, you can.
But no.
But you cannot get back on.
If we do go, you can't get back on.
Yep.
And that's really kind of shitty. I understand.
Yeah.
But like we are all stuck on there for 4
without air.
Hours.
There was no air.
There was no air. They kept turning the plane on and off.
So then the movies weren't working really either.
It was terrible.
Yeah, and so then he dings to tell us to get off. Austin goes, are we here?
We're home. I'm like,
we're like, girl,
no,
we haven't even left.
And she was so moody after that in the lounge.
We all were.
So because we were all like, all we wanted to do was get home.
There had to have been 200 plus people on that plane trying to get flights home.
We were supposed to be home by like noon on Saturday.
Yeah.
Like noon. It was going to be great.
We didn't get in until like 11 p.m.
Well, Daniel and I got in about Tuesday that morning of Tuesday. Yeah. So, or was it Monday morning? Nope, it was Tuesday morning for sure. But we got up into the lounge and she was being so mean to me.
She was upset.
She was upset.
We
And
had been traveling for like a
6
week and a
hours
half.
well, yeah, and we had been
Yeah.
at airport since 5 a.m. that morning.
We got up and left the villa at 3 a.m.
Yes. So
Yeah.
it had been over 12 hours
Mhm.
that we were now in Amsterdam since we had like left that morning. And so she was just so angry and she was being so mean to me. And she goes, I just want to go home. And I said,
Yeah.
me too, girlfriend. I just want to go home too. And she was just not having it. She was in such a bad
But you know
mood.
what? She's going to be tougher because of it.
That is very fair. I mean,
She's a
managed.
trooper. Yeah.
She's a trooper. There was no like big temper tantrum. She was just being mean.
She was like
And not even
freshly
mean.
4.
She was
She was
4.
4.
And so she just was like,
Yeah.
she had a mood. Like she wasn't
Rightfully so.
right.
I was
We all
moody
had a
too.
mood.
Yeah. And then I had to go. Daniel and I were like fighting for our lives with these stupid KLM.
No, so do you know what is really the biggest thing here? Is they held us on this plane for 4 hours until after 5 o'clock. Because then when we got off, they said all the Delta agents are home for the night.
Yeah. And it wasn't even Delta, it was KLM.
No, it was Delta. Because we were on a Delta flight. Our flight from Venice to Amsterdam was KLM. So the initial flight was KLM, which is why, but our flight from Amsterdam to Minneapolis was Delta.
No.
Yes.
Our flight was KLM from Amsterdam to Minneapolis.
No, it wasn't.
Ethan, Austin, and I's were.
Yes, afterwards. Yeah. So KLM is Delta's partner in Europe.
Yeah.
But our flight, we were on a Delta airplane from Amsterdam to Minneapolis originally.
Got it.
They got you on a KLM flight out there.
Yeah.
But
it was terrible.
It was supposed to be Delta. And because the first flight was KLM, everything we did since after that had to go through KLM.
Yes.
Because that was the original flight.
Yeah.
But it was supposed to be Delta. We booked it all through Delta.
Yeah.
All of the flight.
Yeah, we did. Yeah. And then we'll get into it.
But later. They made us stay on the plane until all of the Delta agents went home. So then it turned into KLM's problem. And they just were not. They said we can't get into Delta systems. Everyone's home for the night. Like the systems don't speak to each other. All of that stuff.
Yeah.
And so that is where the problem lied. So you, Austin, and Ethan were able to get on one of the flights out of there.
Because we were traveling with a child.
That is what we've come to the conclusion of.
And that is what not they have said, but what I have heard through a grapevine of workers is that they try to get children home
yes,
first.
That is because the only people left from the flight that we were on were pairs of people.
Yeah.
Everybody else, like families, were all gone.
Yeah.
And so they all got prioritized out of Amsterdam. Daniel and I were stuck in Amsterdam overnight. And the worst, well, we didn't have our suitcases because suitcases had already come into security. You weren't allowed to take them.
Yeah.
And so we literally just had our carry-ons.
Yeah.
And we were supposed to be home. So then the next day, we were originally supposed to have a flight out of there at 8 a.m. We get to the airport. It's already delayed to 3 p.m. or like 5 p.m. It was delayed a whole day. Like we would have had to sit in the airport. So we went to KLM to try and get it changed. And we got on a flight into DC. And we got on that flight and we missed our connecting flight from DC to Minneapolis.
They give you a small window.
They gave us a half an hour.
Yeah.
And we have to go back through customs. You have to get your bag. You have to recheck your bag. So by the time we would have gotten our bags, we wouldn't have even been able to check our bags because you have to check your bag a half an hour. Now it's 45 minutes. Actually, that is a new update. Well, maybe that's just an update here. But you have to check your bag a half hour before the flight leaves. Otherwise, you can't check your bag. Fun fact. Yeah. And so we missed the flight in DC and we were looking at options. And we're like, well, we can go to the other airport in DC that's 45 minutes away and catch a flight to Minneapolis. But what if we get there and we miss it? Like, let's just stay here. And so we ended up getting put in a hotel in DC. And then the next day, we made it home to Minneapolis.
Quite a whirlwind.
It actually was the craziest travel like I've experienced.
That was probably the crazy. Yeah, actually, yeah. We'll dive it. We'll do Italy in a.
Yeah, so we can. That was just getting home.
That was literally just.
But let's start. Home. Let's go back to the beginning.
Yeah.
first trip really was Omaha, correct?
First trip I ever took with you guys was Omaha.
So Omaha, we all drove separately,
Yeah.
correct? Because Daniel and I were coming from the cities,
And it
and
was all
you,
6 hours from the cities and from
yes, we were all
Fargo.
traveling
Yeah.
6 hours to Omaha. We were going to go to the zoo.
It was fun.
It was fun. I highly recommend the Omaha Zoo.
Austin was maybe a year and a half years old.
Yeah,
And she not even a year and a half, I don't think.
I don't think so either.
Like maybe like shy of it. No, because we went in like
We had just gotten married.
Austin turned 1 in July.
Yeah.
So she would have been like a year and like 3
Like,
months.
yeah.
If that.
Yep.
This was her longest car ride she's ever done. We had done the cities several times.
Yeah, which is only 4-ish hours.
Yeah. And like she usually was fine.
Yeah.
But so we had done 6 hours, and that was the longest car ride she ever did. She was so good. We stopped at McDonald's halfways in Sioux Falls.
Yep.
And she had McDonald's, and we changed her diaper. Then when we got there, do you remember what happened?
Yes.
She had leaked through. Her whole car seat
Yep.
and everything was just soaked.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because were we staying in a big like
a
suite?
suite.
Yeah, because we were all together. Because I remember her car seat being dragged in, and
because we had to
cleaned up.
hand wash
Yeah,
it and dry it, and then Ethan hopped in the shower with her. And
Yep.
She was so little. I have photos of her. She was like slippery. It was so cute.
Yeah, that's how the trip started.
That was a fun trip.
But that was a fun trip. I love the Omaha Zoo. We went out to eat afterwards in the like market.
I would like to go
downtown market.
back, honestly.
I would go back to
It'd be
Omaha.
a good little like weekend trip. I don't know why we haven't done it again. I just think the drive is long.
I think the drive is long and we have to find a hotel and it's
there's other things we could be doing with that time. And
but I do love Omaha. I think it's fun. And
It's
Daniel
cute.
lived in Omaha for a little bit.
So he was kind of like our little tour guide.
He really was.
For abouts area.
Okay, so that was our first trip, and now we've been to Florida several times.
Like 5. I've been to Florida 5 times with you.
5 times?
Yeah.
So
we've gone once every year with you since Austin's been alive.
Let's think. So there was the one that was Disney and Palm Island.
Yep.
And then Daniel and I's big trip, you guys met us.
Yep.
And then we just went this last time. We've gone to Disney every year because we went to Disneyland. So I think that's where you're thinking of the
Yes,
4.
you're right. We've
gone to Disney every year.
You were right. I've been to Florida with you 3 times.
3 times.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. So let's talk about Palm Island because I think the biggest thing we need to talk about is the car ride from Orlando to Palm Island.
Like Ethan, Austin, and I?
Like me, Austin, and Daniel.
I have to talk about on the way there, though, because we had...
So you guys had flown down to Palm Island. Daniel and I were at Disney. And you guys were coming up for just a Magic Kingdom day. One day.
So every 5 years, Ethan and Rachel's parents take us on a trip.
A family trip.
And so then that year we were going to Palm Island in Florida. And so we were flying with Tim and Sue and out of Fargo. And we flew into like Sarasota area.
Yeah. Sarasota, Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah. Like somewhere in there. We got a rental car. 2 rental cars or 1?
2.
And so then...
Correct. Yeah, 2.
So we got on the ferry. We got on the island. We grabbed our room. Ethan and I packed backpacks because my dad was living in Orlando at the time.
Yep.
So me, Austin, and Ethan then got back on the ferry, and drove the 3.5 hours to Orlando, got caught in the worst rain I have ever seen in my whole life. Do you remember this?
No.
Like we were literally in like a tsunami. It was like late at night. It was like so late. It was probably like 10 p.m. And Austin was hungry. I was hungry. Ethan was hungry. Like we hadn't eaten since that morning when we left. And we got to my dad's house. We had to pull over in a gas station, like in the middle of nowhere. We were like in the boons in Florida. Like, you know, like the country sketchy area.
So Brittany and I made that trip.
Yeah.
And I don't know what that road, like Literally, there's nothing for
No,
miles.
nothing. There's no, we
Nothing.
had no service.
Yes,
It
it
was
is.
scary. We couldn't even see in front of us. Like, we parked in
My
this gas
God.
station, like, in Austin. Again, she was little. She was 2.
2.
Yeah, she just had a long day. The only thing she had ate all day was we bought her in the Minneapolis airport like a big bag of Welch's fruit snacks. She threw up all over herself. And so Ethan and I stripped her down, changed her diaper, took off all the padding in her car seat, and stuffed the padding with Ethan and I's sweatshirts so she was at least safe, in the car seat. And we got to my dad's and I was crying. Like, Austin was asleep. We carried her up and gave her a little sponge bath. And my dad and Ethan washed the car seat like in the washer and dryer and then had to reassemble
Oh
it.
my God.
And then at 5 in the morning, we got up to go to Disney World with Rachel and Daniel.
Oh my
And
God.
that was our first time at Disney.
Yes.
I cried the first time because Austin was like old enough to like recognize who the people were. So when we saw the opening like welcome parade, and Minnie and Mickey, Austin was like, Minnie Mouse. Oh my God, it was so cute.
It was so cute. And that was my favorite because that is when we went to be our guest and she was scared of the beast and she had like a napkin over
and she
her
had
head.
Belle's dress
Yes, she was so cute. Yes, because that was the trip when she saw all the dresses. She had Dole Whip in her hand and she went running for the dresses and she tripped and the Dole Whip went ever outside of the entrance of that.
Because you have to be 3 to do Bippity Boppity. Yep. And so she wasn't
but
quite
she wanted
3,
a dress. She kept looking at everybody that had dresses on like,
she's like, I want a dress. I'm like, let's get a dress. And she chose Belle and she ran and she biffed it and she cried for a second, but then she was like, I'm on a mission. There are dresses
the dress
right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she started ripping the tag off the one she grabbed. She does that often.
Yeah.
It's so funny. Like, this is mine.
Do you remember when she tried to pocket pins in her? Do you remember this? She was we were in the hat spot.
Yes, she kept a pin.
Yeah. She's funny.
Oh my goodness.
We don't condone a clap out.
Yeah, no. But then the next day you came to pick us up because we were all gonna ride back to Palm Island together.
Yeah.
So you and Ethan are in the front
at your hotel in Orlando.
Yeah,
from my dad's house.
Yeah. So you came to pick us up at the hotel. So Daniel and I have our luggage, obviously, and
we were supposed to get a bigger car, but they're like, actually, we don't have
them available.
We have like a smaller SUV.
And so we stuck our luggage in the back, and then
I don't know if you know this about Rachel and Daniel, but they are the heaviest.
We do not travel light.
No, and it's awful. It's like, it's not, no, that's actually dramatic. It's not awful. I didn't mean it in that sense. It's just a lot.
Well, we didn't know the car was going to be so small.
No.
But so we had our luggage, your like bags or whatever. And so then
that was dramatic. I didn't mean to say awful.
Yeah, no, you're all good. And then in the back was me, Austin, Daniel. So Austin was in the middle of me and Daniel.
The situation was awful.
And Daniel could have been invisible for all I know next to us.
He was like saddled up by the window.
But Austin decided to choose violence that morning against me.
Because you were like, stop! And she was having a grand old time.
No. This is what she did. She stuck her leg over her car seat like this. Like this in my face.
Yeah, she was too. Just so we
know. But she decided, Daniel over there, don't care.
Yeah.
You auntie, I'm gonna bother you for the next 4 hours.
We also, so Tim and Sue had called us and they're like, would you guys stop at the liquor
pick
store?
up some alcohol.
So
and apparently we went inside and forgot that we had no room in the car because we bought all of this stuff and we had it under our feet.
I literally was sitting in the front seat with my seat like all the way up. My knees were touching the airbags and I had 2 cases like under my feet. I was like this.
No, we all had cases under our feet.
Yeah.
Like we went in there and forgot that we had no room in the car.
Austin also bought a pair of Cinderella sunglasses in the liquor store.
Yes, she did.
It was fun.
It was a grocery store. We were just in a grocery store.
Yeah. That's true. It was like half and half.
Yeah. But no, she bothered me purposefully the whole 3 hours.
Yeah.
To Palm Island.
It was intentional.
It was intentional.
Threat. Yeah, she's nuts.
It was so funny, but like not at all. Like she could have slept that 3 hours and she chose not to.
That was a good trip.
It was a good trip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Third trip we took with you.
So Daniel and I went to Disney and you guys came down.
Yeah, you guys
And
were
that
there
was
for like a week.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
And you guys came down. That was such a fun trip. That was our Cinderella's Royal Table.
Yeah.
We went to Ohana. We did all of those fun things.
That's when Austin, she was so tired because we did like a full park day at Magic
Yes.
Kingdom. We were there like past close. No,
Yeah.
not like close. But, like,
Well, we had extended
park
hours.
Yeah. And so we didn't get back until our hotel room until like midnight, past midnight.
Yeah.
And then the next morning we had to be up early because it was Animal Kingdom.
Animal Kingdom.
And she was so tired. She was like nodding off when I was doing her hair in the morning. And she refused to eat or drink anything. And I like was wanting her to drink because I was worried about her being dehydrated.
Yeah.
And so I was like force feeding her Powerade, and all she ate was popcorn.
She decided she was only going to eat popcorn because she got the Simba popcorn bucket.
Mm-hmm. It was
and
cute.
so we get just refilled everywhere. And so she just kept sticking her hand in that popcorn bucket.
And then she had Scars, which was lime, neon green.
It was
Dole
sour
Whip.
green apple.
Yeah. And then later that night, she threw it up all over
She threw
Ethan
up
in
and
the
it was
lobby
green
of our hotel.
popcorn.
Yeah.
All over
Ethan.
All over Ethan.
He was not happy.
He was not happy at all.
He just Austin was took tired. A shower in my room. Yeah. Mm.
Ethan and Austin having to shower on big trips seems to be an issue.
But that was probably the last time they've had to do that. Yeah, just because she was so little.
She was so little,
and she wasn't able to like tell us how she was feeling.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So then, I guess let's move on to Italy, or because we went to Italy before Disneyland. So let's go Italy.
Did we?
Yeah. We went to Disneyland a year ago.
We did.
And you got married more than a year ago. So we went to Italy, and the first stop was going from Minneapolis to JFK. And it was great because we sat in the lounge in Minneapolis, all of us.
Yeah. Me, you, Daniel,
yes,
Ethan,
and we were having a great time. We all got like a mimosa. We all had some champagne.
Yeah.
Then we got to JFK and had to sit in the lounge for over 3 hours.
It was like almost 5, I thought.
Yep.
It was a long layover.
It was. And so we bought a bottle of champagne.
Rachel and I bought a bottle of Veuve.
Yes. And Ethan was getting drinks. And Austin.
My husband got so drunk. He like woke up still on the airplane hungover.
Your husband on the airplane, because I could see him from where I was sitting, was hunched over with like his blanket over his head.
I know, and he was sitting next to someone random because we were sitting 2-2.
Yes.
So like Austin and I sat next to each other, and then Ethan sat next to someone. Yeah. You and Daniel sat next to each other.
Yeah. But we had to be the loudest people in that lounge. But we put ourselves in a corner out of everybody's way.
Next to the business people that were...
we were in a corner.
Yes, so, like, but there's people in the corner like doing work and like laptops.
It was nighttime.
Daniel also was doing work.
Daniel was also doing work.
Businessmen. Rachel's favorite word.
I hate the word businessman. Businessman. Like,
men.
Like, you think you're important because you're a businessman?
You think
like,
you're
it doesn't
important?
mean shit to me.
Yeah.
Like, it really, truly doesn't.
That don't impress me much.
It doesn't at all, actually. Businessman, like, define that. Define more of what you actually do for me, please.
Yeah.
But we were sitting there, and Austin all of a sudden starts going, Disney World. Disney World.
She thought we were going to Disney.
And I was like, we are going to Italy.
I don't know why she thought that because
the only times we've been in airports is going to Disney World.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so when we checked in Minneapolis, you know, because we just wanted to check our luggage as soon as we could. So we found one of those small kiosks.
Yeah.
And in Minneapolis, I had my wedding dress. I was carrying my wedding dress with me everywhere because I was not checking that bad boy.
No, not at all.
And so then the lady realized what we were going to Italy for, you know, and she looked at Austin and she goes, where are you going? And she goes, Italy. My mommy and daddy's getting married. And so I don't know why the sudden flip that we were going to Disney World.
All of a sudden JFK was Disney World. Disney World.
And Rachel and I were a bottle deep. We were encouraging it. We're like... But we're like, wait, we're not
We're not going
just
to
so you
Disney
know.
World, just so you're aware. We're not going to show up. We're not showing up at Disney
We're
World
not
after this
surprising you.
8-hour flight.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a long flight. Like,
It was
a
long
flight.
because we had like ate so much in the JFK lounge
Yeah.
and we drank so much. And then Ethan drank and drank and drank.
He kept bringing everybody drinks. I'd be like, oh, Ethan, can you go get me a drink? And you're like, stop. He's only going to get you a drink so he can get himself another drink.
Because he'd be like, anyone else want anything? Just so he could go up and get himself something too. But he, every drink he
Ethan
had.
was like a great, like, he brought us pop. He brought us stuff. He was working back and forth.
You should have got a job in the lounge. He was bringing back our dishes. Every time he got a drink, he also got himself a cup of coffee.
No, that reminds me of him getting
When he was holding up the line and the lady goes, the old lady goes, what are you doing?
No.
Ethan's
He's at the coffee bar. He's at the coffee bar and he got a big cup, and so like one of the coffees from the thing doesn't fill the whole cup.
he put like 4 shots of espresso in there and then opened up a hot cocoa packet to make a mocha.
So he was like doing it again because she thought it was her turn because one ended.
So he would pull his cup and she'd be putting hers up and he'd be like,
Then he put it back to do another one, and she goes, I see what you're doing. And Ethan goes, yeah.
yeah, you see what I'm doing? I'm making a mocha.
Like he was holding up the whole coffee.
He was. There was like a line going around the corner to the bar, and he's like so drunk. Everyone was probably like, have you been here before? Are you new
Like,
here?
what are you doing? He's just making a double coffee.
And
Oh
then
my
there's
God.
sweet little Austin coloring in the corner. All her adults and guardians are just
Okay, no, I was not, mind you. Me
I
and
was
Daniel were
fine,
not.
too.
We were fine.
because
Ethan-
Daniel was working.
Daniel was working. Austin was perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Like we were all good.
Yeah.
Except for Ethan. Ethan got a little wild in JFK.
Told me he was just excited.
Yeah, it was like an espresso per alcohol drink.
Crazy business.
Yeah. But anything else? What else in Italy? So we flew into Rome. How did you feel with Austin in Rome?
I feel fine.
Yeah.
I've never been anywhere with Austin where I've felt uneasy, I will say.
Yeah.
I don't know. And I feel like I'm pretty like aware like of my surroundings.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I do have a child with me.
Yeah.
So I'm always kind of looking.
Point at your mouth.
I'm always kind of test.
Oh
I'm
my God.
always kind of looking around to make sure, like, you know.
Yeah.
But I felt fine. I didn't think that Rome was dirtier than New York. You thought it was.
I don't think it's dirtier than New York. I would compare them to New York. I thought it was as busy and I thought it was as unclean.
Okay. I just think New York is super dirty just because there's literal bags of garbage all
Yeah.
over the street. I didn't see a single bag of garbage in Rome.
That's fair. Okay.
Yeah. Like I mean, we were there during tourism season, so
That is
it was
true. It was busy.
but like I didn't feel like it was as busy as New York. Like in New York, you're shoulder to shoulder. And like in Rome, I felt like we had plenty of room. Like me, Austin, and Ethan were walking in a line like this,
Mhm.
and like we had space between us. And she was like
Sure.
kind of running around a little bit.
Yeah.
I liked Rome. I thought it was fun.
I thought it was too.
Yeah.
Austin was the biggest trooper in the world because we did the Vatican tour.
It was longer than we thought it was going to be.
It was like way longer than we thought it was going to be. To get to the one room you want to see
Yeah.
took forever.
And she had on her little headphones.
The little
she was
headpiece.
like listening to like the tour as we were going. She was like looking
so good.
She was so cute. She would like look at paintings and she'd be like,
only
this is
time
beautiful.
she decided to like raise her eyebrow was when we were in that circle room and there was something in the middle and you couldn't pass the fence.
Yeah.
And you saw that mischievous look on her face.
She wanted to touch it.
You move past this little fence.
Yeah.
And we're gonna get kicked out of here. We're not even gonna get to see the room.
We're gonna be in Vatican jail.
Like, what is the painting? That's where we were going.
Yeah.
I forgot what it's even called.
But
that's where we were going. And that was the only time I saw her like
contemplate.
Doing something and she should not.
It was so cute. Like, I really liked Italy. Like,
Mhm.
everywhere we went with Austin, like, I never felt, like when you're carrying around your children and stuff like that, like, you kind of get the ick. Like, some people linger a little too long looking at your kids, or some people want to touch your kids and you're like, keep your hands to yourself. But
Yeah.
when we were in Italy, there was like, even Ethan said, and Ethan's like super protective over Austin,
Mhm.
rightfully so. But there would be like little old men going up to Austin, kind of pinching her legs and going, little baby, little
I
baby.
know they called her baby
Everywhere. And
everywhere.
Austin was 4. So she's like, I'm
I'm a
not a baby.
baby.
Why are they calling me
A
baby?
baby.
People called her baby everywhere.
Yeah.
It was so
Well, because she was
cute.
so cute. I think my favorite outfit was that little blue, like, top and pants, and you had her hair in, like, little buns on top
Yeah,
of her
space
head.
buns.
So cute. She looked so cute that day.
That's when we got the minion ice cream.
Yes.
Yes. She is a trooper.
She really is. I think it's because you've traveled with her, like,
She was 2 weeks old.
I know.
Her first airplane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That she's just, like, along for the ride. And I'm sure it's because she's with us adults all the time.
Yeah.
Like, we are all together all the time that she just kind of tags right along.
She does. She keeps
Yeah.
up well.
Yeah. I would agree. We already touched on the flights back home.
We have to talk about, though. Okay, so we took 2 trains to get to.
Yes. That was a breaking point for her.
We took 2 trains to get to Montecatini.
Yeah, from Rome to Montecatini,
which is where we stayed in our
Yep.
villa. And she was just, I think, ready to just.
So the first train was great. She sat with Daniel and I.
And that was a nice train, though.
It was. She sat with Daniel and I. We had a table in between us, so she sat and colored the whole time. And
they gave her a snack box.
Yeah, we all
Truthfully,
got snack
she was probably
boxes.
hungry because that's like the only thing she ate.
And so that was fine. She wanted to sit with Daniel and I. Because I think she was originally supposed to sit. I think one of you was supposed to sit with Daniel and I.
I don't remember. Yeah.
I don't remember, but Austin took one of your spots so that you and Ethan could sit together. And so I was just grabbing stuff out of her backpack for her when she needed it, and she sat and colored, and it was great. The next train, she decided she didn't want to sit with any of us.
No.
She was going to sit by herself and color.
Yeah.
And that is what she did.
Which is fine.
Was fine. But the train started to get really packed.
And it was a small, older
train. It was a small train. And it's all people commuting to and from work.
It was making me feel a little
It was making me feel a little uneasy that she was sitting by herself and the train was starting to be packed, because then I felt like we were, taking up too much space.
Yes. I was worried a stranger was going to sit next to her.
But she would not come sit by me.
No.
She would not move from her spot. So that was a bit of a meltdown we had. And none of us could go sit by her because she'd start freaking out.
Yeah.
And so that was our one hitch, I feel, in that trip.
And then I have to tell the story because it is my favorite travel story that I've ever had.
When we arrived in Montecatini.
So when we arrived to Montecatini, we got off and we're like, we're trying to use our common sense and words, trying to figure out how the hell to get out of this train station. We're one of the first people off this train. And so,
do you know what is wild to me?
What?
We were the only people there for forever. Lost.
Because people couldn't figure out how to get out either.
No. We went to the wrong side.
But then once we got to the front, people started coming out.
Yes. But all of a sudden there was a bunch of people that needed taxis.
Because I don't think I think people went to the backside as well. But we were one of the first people off.
I don't know.
Yeah. And so we go to the front and
we eventually make it to the actual front.
Yes.
Because we popped up on a side and we're like,
this is not it. Yeah. Because there wasn't a frontage road or anything. Spot? Yeah. So then I look online for a cab. I go, cab company near me. So I make a call. The guy goes, he's speaking Italian. So I'm using the little bit that I learned. And I'm like, he's like, how many people? And I'm like,
5.
Yeah. And he's like, okay.
It'll be number 6.
Yeah, I think so. I'm like, oh, all right. So then we get to the front.
And we're like, we have no idea if this thing is actually coming.
We literally didn't even think that they were going to come.
No, for sure.
I didn't know if I explained anything correctly.
Yeah.
So then we get to the front of the building and there is a taxi there. And so I'm like, oh, hi. He goes, how many? I'm like, 5. And he's like, all right. This man is trying to jam.
So it was not a very big taxi, but it was like a van, like
Yeah.
a kind of van. And of course, all 5 of us all have a bag of luggage.
Yeah. And we had a lot of luggage because it was the wedding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so he was trying to jam all our, like, Ethan literally was like this, like wincing.
No,
because
he
this
was
man
like
this,
boom, boom,
trying to jam it
right
in
on
there.
my luggage, and I was like, oh my god,
We're just like, my new base luggage.
no, it's Monos.
Oh, and so he just like whatever. So he goes, I might have to make 2 trips. I come back for you guys, and I'm like what? Like, we're not like leaving each other like here. I'm like, but then we finally were like Daniel and Ethan were like, we'll stay. Like,
Yeah.
you 3 can
Go.
go. And so then all of a sudden,
this big old taxi van pulls into the parking lot,
literally wheels squealing.
right in and goes, number 6, Alana.
He's like, you? I'm like, yes.
And this man,
they start fighting.
They start fighting, and this man is pulling our luggage out.
Yeah, the guy's like, no, I had them. And the guy goes, they called me, and he's pulling our luggage out of the man's van and putting it into his, and I'm like, ally, like, respect.
No, I was standing there, I was like, oh my god.
we're about to be in a taxi man altercation.
No, the fact that he literally started pulling our luggage from the other guy's van.
Yeah.
But
so
wild.
Meanwhile, there was a line of people needing a taxi.
And I was like, sir, just grab one of them.
Yeah.
They'll fit in your van.
And that's what our taxi man said. He goes, there's so many other people. Like,
Yeah.
just relax.
Yeah.
And so we really stirred the pot here, I guess.
No. I will never get the image on my head of that taxi swerving into that parking lot.
He saw us getting in there and he's like, oh, hell no. He's like, it was too good.
Like, it'll be forever ingrained in my brain.
Like, it's one of our favorite things to talk about. Like, the boy, it was just so funny.
It was so funny.
It was so funny. And then finally we got to the villa, and
we're all wheeling our things through the the pebbles.
Yeah.
And he goes, and we went in the wrong entrance too.
We did. Someone was supposed to meet us at the entrance, but I was so busy trying to get this taxi man to where we were going because we were like tucked away. The villa's tucked away.
Yeah.
So like we had a hard time finding like the correct entrance. And so I was so busy talking to this man that I wasn't able to message
the guy that was meeting us there.
Yeah. And so then I'm like trying to give this man all of our passports because we needed our passports for him to scan and stuff. And I'm signing paperwork and I'm signing the rules and I'm reading through them. And Austin had asked Ethan
to go swimming.
And he goes, okay, ask mom. Like, I'm bringing all of our stuff to our room. And she goes, okay. And she asked me, I'm like, yeah, give me a second. So she had like stripped into her swimsuit, and I was like, okay, hold on though, Austin. And I'm like talking to this man still like about our passports, and all of a sudden I see Ethan drop all of his stuff and he's sprinting to the pool. She's like in the pool like this. Literally, it's only funny now, but it was really scary. So I sprint over there and Ethan's like, oh my god, Austin, like, you can't go in the pool without anyone. And right as I'm signing my last form, it says kids will not be unsupervised in the pool. And I just know we had been there for like 10 minutes. The guy,
and this guy was like,
he was like,
my
is
god,
this how this whole week is gonna go with y'all? Like, yeah.
Oh my god.
And then he gave us a tour and gave us all waters and cappuccinos. The cappuccino machine was amazing. It was nice.
Yeah, no, Austin. And then she talked about I almost drowned.
She talks about it all the time. Remember when I almost drowned
in the pool in Italy?
Girl, that was your takeaway?
That's the only thing you remember?
Like, be for real.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't. You were on the edge. Like,
she was fine.
She was fine.
Yeah.
God. Any other things in Italy that were quite that funny?
No, and we talked about the way home.
Yeah, we talked about the way home. But that taxi situation was actually so hilarious.
That was hilarious.
It was.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a wrap on Italy.
Yeah.
From what I can remember. Yeah.
Yeah.
because I don't think there was anything else. But Vouv over there was so
Oh,
cheap that we
yes.
had Vouv
We
like
bought bottles on bottles on
bottles of
bottles. We
Vouv.
had like, so like, not the largest bottle that they have in America, but like the other one
Mhm.
is like $90.
Yeah.
The biggest bottle in Italy was 60. So
Yeah.
we bought like a ton of
We
different
bought a ton of Vouv to have while there.
like the black label and
Yeah.
Florence was fun. We did go to Florence.
Yes,
That was a
Florence
good
was fun.
time.
We had fun in
Yeah.
Florence. That restaurant
Yeah.
was so good.
It was good.
So my favorite thing that we ate there, minus the cacio e pepe, like I love that,
That was good.
was the fresh mozzarella
The
balls.
buffalo mozzarella is what it was.
No, they were just fresh mozzarella balls. There was like nothing on them. It was literally just
No, that's the style of mozzarella balls, buffalo
oh.
mozzarella.
Anyways,
Yeah.
that was
It was really good.
they were so good.
Yeah.
Daniel and I went back to Venice the next day and we went back and got those.
To Florence?
Yeah,
Yeah.
to Florence.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
They were so good.
There is this really enchanting carousel in the middle of Florence that was fun, and we all hopped on
Austin
that.
had a little light up thing,
Yeah.
didn't she?
Yeah, she had a little light up thing. There was like you can get wine and drinks and walk around the streets with it. It
Mhm.
was just like magical. It was like fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because when we went,
Enchanting is a
it
good
was.
word.
I really liked Daniel and I when we went back the next day, did a tour and we got to see like all of the paintings of like Venus and like in the clamshell and I
Sure.
love those
Yeah.
ones.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Fun.
We did a little retail shopping while
You
in
did.
Italy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I would love to go back to Europe and do a little shopping.
Yeah.
But yeah, is that all in Italy?
Yeah.
Okay, so then let's jump to I guess Disneyland. Any fun stories we have from Disneyland? Though I guess the only funny stories I have was on our way back home. We were in the lounge in LA.
You're gonna talk about the Long Islands?
Yes. So, well, one, we were sitting in this big, like there had to be 8 chairs, but there's only
It was like
5
a
of us.
couch. Yeah.
Yeah. But we were playing musical chairs,
Yeah.
and everyone got a little upset at each other about this musical chairs business because one seat was in the sun
It was
and
me.
it was really hot.
Okay, because the sun
And
was
so Daniel
beating
got up
down.
and you had moved to Daniel's spot.
Yeah.
And then, but Daniel thought I had moved to his spot for some reason.
We were all
I don't
tired.
know. Everyone was tired. And Austin, there was a little candy bar, kept just eating candy.
They had like a ton of candy in this lounge.
Yes. And so she just kept eating candy. And so when Daniel and I are in lounges, we usually have mimosas. Okay. Like that's what we get in
Daniel and
lounges.
Rachel are people of routines.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we usually get mimosas.
Which isn't a bad thing.
It's not.
No.
Ethan had gotten a Long Island. And I've been known to love a Long Island back in my college days. That's what I drank. So I said, oh, I'll get a Long Island. Daniel comes back from wherever he was.
Yeah,
and
he was gone for a long time. That's why I took his spot.
I don't know where he came back from. He goes, what are you drinking? I said, Long Island. And he goes, I didn't know we were drinking those. I said, what do you mean?
He said, I didn't know we were getting drunk.
And I was like, Daniel, I'm not planning on getting drunk. Can I not have a Long Island?
I've never seen you drink one of these.
Oh my God, he was being so judgmental.
He was like stressed out that she was not having a mimosa. He goes, we usually have mimosas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, you can get a mimosa. Like, no one is stopping you from getting a mimosa.
But Rachel and I like to talk about the story just because it was kind of funny. And
because he goes, I didn't know
got kind of defensive, so I don't want to be too loud about it.
Oh yeah, because he might hear us.
He might hear us. He's in his humbly working in his office a while away while we were
yapping.
just
yapping on out here. But yeah, no, he thought I was apparently getting drunk in the LA.
Was unimpressed
lounge. Because
he's never seen her drink a Long Island before. He didn't even know she liked those.
Yeah.
Is what he said.
And then we played musical chairs again, and then everybody was okay for a little bit.
Yeah, for a little bit.
Yeah.
That also was like a long, because we had to be out of our hotel. Our flight was at one time.
Because we went to the one lounge and we were just like, we know we're here too early. Like, we probably can't get in. Like, is there any chance? And they're like, no, but you can go to the older lounge and they will let you in. So we went to the older lounge and we stayed there the whole time.
It was fun.
It was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a good time.
I had a good time too.
And then when we got back, we celebrated your birthday. Your parents
Yes,
came
we
up.
did.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
fun. Your 30th.
It was my 30th.
Yeah, big
Yeah.
birthday.
It was a big
Oh,
birthday.
I liked Disneyland
I liked Disneyland as well. Austin and her face paint for will forever
at
be.
DCA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She picked the one that was her whole face.
Yeah. I thought she was just going to pick like a little
No,
butterfly.
it used every color
It was a huge
and
rainbow
black.
tiger.
Yeah, it was a
And
rainbow
then when
tiger.
she got hot throughout the day, she had black mountain.
I think my favorite thing though was when we went to Turtle Talk with Crush. She had this face paint on and she had her little hand raised in the air to be called on, and she didn't get called on, and her little sad rainbow tiger face
Yeah.
was so cute.
She was sad.
She was sad. She hasn't gotten picked.
Yeah.
So sad.
Yeah.
But like her in that rainbow face paint was killed me.
You want to know something?
Yeah.
On one of the Disney cruises, one of the ships, I can't remember which one of the dining rotations is like an undersea, like Nemo and Friends theme. And so Crush, the whole room is like a screen. It loops around. So Crush comes around to every table and talks to every kid.
That's so cool.
Yeah. So I saw that. I was like, oh, if she like needs her fix one of these days.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
But yeah. Disneyland was fun.
Yes, Disneyland was fun.
Any other stories from Disneyland? We shared a room. We were in close quarters.
That was the first time we've ever shared a room.
That is the first time
we shared a room in Italy, but it was a suite. So
yeah,
we
it was
had
a
our
suite,
own
so
bedrooms.
each had our own bedrooms.
Yeah.
But this was the first time we were all crammed in one little room, which it was fine.
Yeah, I would do it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
8 out of 10 would do it again.
8 out of 10 would do it again. It was funny. We were playing games like at night. Austin was asleep, and me and Rachel were like this.
We were like,
would you rather? And the boys were like, we're not playing these games.
Yeah, they were being no fun.
Yeah.
My husband most of all.
I asked Daniel a bunch of questions about his 4-H days, and Rachel's like, I've never heard you say this before.
No, yeah, we were like 2 high school girls at a slumber party.
Trying to get the boys involved, and they wouldn't.
And they wouldn't. But Ethan, for all he complained about, having answered every single question.
Yeah.
He did.
He loves it.
Yeah. Secretly, he loved it.
He loves it.
But that was fun.
Yeah, California was a good time. I do love California.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good state.
Yeah. Okay. What about after that?
We're in Florida.
Yeah, and we already kind of covered everything on that. There was no any other traveling stories.
Well, we've talked about our 2 trips we are doing, which is the cruise, and you guys are doing Epic Disney.
Yeah.
Ethan's parents, our 5-year is coming up. Ethan Rachel's parents.
And so
we're gonna go to Ireland.
We're gonna go to Ireland.
Yes.
I'm very excited about that. To have like kind of just a chill exploring trip.
Yeah, we're gonna go for a week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It should be fun.
We're gonna go to Dublin.
Yeah.
And I think we had talked about maybe taking like a train or a car to go to different like the cliffs,
like the cliffs,
more,
yeah,
and like Northern Ireland,
yeah.
And then me, Daniel, Ethan, and Austin may extend our trip and do London, Paris.
Yes.
TBD. Yeah. And we would do
if
Disney
we want to
Paris.
do any shopping, we have to go to Paris.
Yes, we would do Disney Paris, and then I want to go to spend like a day in Paris and do shopping. Mm-hmm. There's just so much to do in France that I want to do a separate France trip, but I think that if we're going to be right there, I do want to do Disneyland Paris.
Yeah.
And then do a day in Paris and shop, and I want to go above the Eiffel Tower. They have flights of Vouv. Yeah, and then you can see like at nighttime it'll twinkle. Yeah. The Eiffel Tower. Yeah. Yeah, because in London we want to do the Harry Potter tour and maybe go to a show in West End. And yeah, I want to do the Mamma Mia party, but I don't know if it's going to be too rowdy for Austin. That is true. They have a DreamWorks studio in London where it's like Shrek, so it's by where Ethan and I stayed last time, and we want to take Austin on the London Eye, which is the big Ferris wheel. We'll take her on the bridge. We'll do lots of eating. There's a good fish and chips place, Rock and Soul. Yeah. We'll go to the market and do the chocolate covered strawberries. And yeah. It shall be a good time. It should be a good time. Yeah. Any other plans of the future? I have so many things I want to do. Well, yeah, but like any like actual plans. Nothing set in stone. Nothing set. No. Yeah, same. No. Well, Daniel and I are going to go to DC. Oh, I'm going to Yes.
Daniel has a work trip out in DC, and so we're going to extend, and I'm going to meet him out there for the weekend. I've only been to DC once and did the Holocaust Museum, so I'm kind of excited to do the other museums.
Mm-hmm.
I've been to the monuments, so like I don't need to go back to the monuments.
Yeah.
But I would like to do the like Smithsonian museums, or
Yeah.
at least a couple of those, and just go out to eat and hang
DC
around
has
DC.
great food. Great
Yeah.
food. Yeah.
So I'm excited.
I'm gonna go to Montana in June.
Oh
Yeah,
yes,
Missoula.
yes.
Yeah.
So I've been to Missoula,
Uh-huh.
and it's like it reminded me. So like I only went out to eat after working because I was there for work, but it was felt like such a college town
Yeah.
that it was just fun to go out to eat and
Yeah.
go places, and
I'm
yeah,
excited.
it should be
Yeah.
fun.
One of my friends moved there, so
Yeah,
she actually
you should
moves today.
check out the little shields there that I helped put up.
Yeah, we'll see.
It's a nice store.
Yeah, I bet it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any places that you really want to go sometime in your lifetime? Like
Austria.
Yes.
Austria is number one on my list. I want to go on the Sound of Music tour
Yeah.
so bad. And I just can't think of anything better than being on a bus where everybody is singing the Sound of Music.
Joe, a dear, a female deer.
Yes, and visiting all the sites. And you can stay at the hotel that's right outside where they filmed like the water scenes, like where the gate is and the water.
Yeah.
And so that is the hotel I want to stay at. And I want to go on this tour because I want to see the little gazebo where Liesl and Rolf like are dancing. I want to go so bad.
Yeah.
Austria is top of my list specifically for that.
Yeah.
But anywhere else, I guess I just don't know. Like obviously I want to go to London.
Mm-hmm.
Daniel wants to go to those top like three, like Switzerland, Norway, Sweden, like that area, and go like on a train through there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Mine would be I want to go to the south of France, like Saint Tropez.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
And I want to go to Greece.
Yep.
I really want to go to Greece.
That's what I was going to say. I want to go to Greece and I want to go to Tokyo.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to do Switzerland. And yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I really want to go to India as well. I think we've talked about this.
Have we?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that.
Remember my dad's friends are from there?
Oh,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah, Parvish.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes.
Yeah.
That is right.
Yeah. So I would like to go with them one time. They've extended an invite for when they go.
Well, yeah, then you've got to go.
Got to go.
I keep seeing like TikToks of all the jewelry from India.
Yeah.
It's so pretty.
It is pretty.
I think there's nothing prettier than an Indian wedding. Like everybody's outfits are so stunning.
I was able to do hair and makeup for an Indian wedding when I first started working. And I put her jewelry on. It's heavy. Like her headpiece was so heavy. Yeah.
But it's so pretty.
Stunning.
Like gorgeous.
Yeah. I know. I just would like to immerse myself in different cultures. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I just really like to travel.
I know, me too.
Yeah.
But I don't know that I can do a super, super long flight. Like, Ireland is going to be long. But on the way back from Amsterdam, and it's because I'm sure I had COVID by then. Yeah. Because I got COVID after we went to Italy. I was so miserable on that flight home. And we had to downgrade to get on this flight to DC. We had to downgrade our seats. And I thought I was going to have a panic attack on this flight because I looked and it was like 6 hours left. And I was like, I can't get off. I can't move.
Like you're feeling
I'm so sick. I'm coughing. It was terrible.
Yeah.
That it like scared me from being on a long flight. Like I don't want to feel like that again.
Yeah. I forgot to mention high on my list where I want to go is Australia and New Zealand. Mm-hmm. But okay, so I felt that way when we were on our way to Rome. I like felt like it was lasting forever just because I think I was tired. Yeah. And I kept opening my eyes and I saw we had all that time left. And I was like, get me off this plane.
Like I need to be off.
And I think like I just was so anxious and anticipating like just landing and being there just because there's so much prep going into that trip with the wedding and stuff. Yeah. I just wanted to be there.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
Everything works out and everything is an adventure and great.
It truly is.
Yeah.
I loved retalking our travel stories.
I
They're
know.
so
I
funny.
like what Rachel and like we travel well together.
Yes,
Yeah.
I would agree. I think we're very lucky to travel well together.
I don't think I'd be able to travel with like other people
No,
the
I
way I
think
can
it's
travel
funny
with you
when we
two.
talk about like we stayed in the same room in Disneyland. Me, my husband, my brother, and my sister-in-law and their child stayed in the same room. People could people think that's the craziest
Like,
thing.
would you be able to stay, like, do the things that we do with like other people that you're
No.
related to? Yeah, I wouldn't
No.
be able to either. Yeah.
Absolutely
Yeah.
not.
Like even like my dad and I went to Seattle together and we had like
Mhm.
two separate hotel rooms on separate floors on
Separate
opposite.
floors.
Yeah, well, yeah. Eric had a huge balcony. It was really cool. I did not get a
No,
balcony.
I am sure it's
I
because
had a view
like
of
I
Pike's
get
Place. That was
along
cool.
with my brother so well
You guys do get
too.
along
Like
pretty
we get
well.
along, we have
And
the
then
same
we get
sense of
along
humor.
pretty well.
Like I feel like Ethan and I think each other is very funny,
Yeah. And of
even if we
course,
like
Daniel
bicker.
just gets along with everyone.
Yeah,
We get
and we get
along.
along, so
Yeah, yeah.
it works out pretty
And
well.
Austin's just there.
And Asha's just there for the fun.
Yeah, she's lucky.
She is lucky.
Hmm.
But yeah, that kind of wraps
Yeah, I think that's a
up
wrap.
travel.
Yeah.
All right, well that's it. Bye.
Bye.